Hey, welcome back to the Build It Basement. Today we're focusing on electronics on our Voron 0.1. Finished up the head the other day, so let's jump right into it. So, power supply on this V01. First thing I want us to do is check the input voltage on this, and I suggest you do this in anything that's power related. It's a power converter, converting power either from AC to DC or AC to AC or anything like that. Usually those things are manufactured for worldwide use, which means that they work in either 120 or a 208, 230 setup. So let's take a look at that real quick here. There is a Meanwell power supply, and for those that don't know, Meanwell makes very good power supplies. No fans or anything on this. Basically some coils, capacitors, some other coils, some fusing, some other stuff in there as well. Our terminal strip, an adjustment screw right here for our voltage, and then finally on solid side, finally on this side right here, kind of odd, kind of have to look through things, but there is a low switch that currently reads 230, and we need that thing to read 115 like it does now. So 115 now, 230 now. So simple switch. If you don't do that, you're gonna see some odd things. You never blown anything up, but I have seen some things that seem to be working but don't actually work the way they should. So that's the first thing in the manual. Oh, and yeah. Worst thing you can wake up to find after about 18 hours of printing: don't run out of filament. Sucks. All right, so voltage input select, we get that, we got that, and apply VHB tape. That is right. This Meanwell power supply is going to be attached to our printer using tape, double-sided tape, but still tape. Not a huge fan of this, but I don't see, or I haven't looked all that deeply, but I didn't see many mods or any mods specific to switching this out. And zoom out of that a little bit, and attaching that in a different way. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get some VHB tape, which we have right here. Came with the kit, our LDO kit. By the looks of it, it is genuine 3M VHB tape. Only the best can do. This is one product where there are a lot of manufacturers out there that make similar products, but 3M, worldwide leader probably in adhesives in general, tend to make the best stuff. So it's not that much more expensive to buy it if you don't have it. Let's see, what is this? This is also 3M. But this kit came with it, so we don't need to buy it. We have it. So it says 3M VHB double-sided pressure sensitive adhesive tape. Other vendors have similar products that you can use that are suitable. You could argue that. Support the deck panel with one hand firmly pressed against the power supply against panel. Strong bond. You should distrust modern adhesives. Should you distrust modern adhesives, you can alternatively mount it by drilling 2 holes in the deck panel and securing it to M3x6 BHCS. Refer to the LR 5150 data sheet for dimensions. So what they're basically talking about is you could go through, and on the back side here you have some threaded ports that you could use on the back side of this, and you can simply drill some holes on your printer. Well, simply, but drill some holes on the back side here and mount it like that. And in actuality, is that a better view? I think that might be a better view. If it's not a better view, leave me a comment and you can let me know. I won't know until I read the comment, but so let's see here. This is going to basically, what are we looking at here? Okay. This is basically going to be located on this far side, and it's going to be in the corner as far as possible. So the first thing I do is I'm going to grab a paper towel and some rubbing alcohol. Unless I can't find my rubbing alcohol. Bizarre. So I'm going to use my spray rubbing alcohol I got. I'm going to clean my surfaces, because nothing will stop tape from sticking quicker than some oil. Got a little bit of dirt on that thing. There, it came right off the power supply. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just from manufacturing, we call it manufacturing goo. You're going to find stuff on things. No fault of the manufacturer. All right, so we clean it off, and then I'm going to go one further step that I like to do. After I'm stuck to the desk. After I get these pieces kind of cut to size, I'm only using 2 slices, but theirs looks bigger. PHB tape. I guess a massive tape. I'm gonna probably do a few strips on this. This looks like the tape. This looks like the tape to do around. They don't give me any other tape, so this is like the tape to do around your enclosure. But what I'm gonna do, what I like to do, is I like to heat this stuff up a little bit. So I'm gonna put this here. I don't have that turned up very high right now. Put my hand right in front of it. I'm gonna cut myself a few strips. About that long. That. Cut another one. Similar length. And I'm gonna do a third one just to be sure. Like that. All right, let's set that aside. And something I like to do when I use adhesive, double-sided adhesive tapes is basically heat up the surface I'm going to put it on. Could scuff it up with a little bit of sandpaper or something too if you wanted to. And this is metal, so it's going to dissipate the heat pretty quick. So I'm just going to heat that up a little bit. I'm going to heat the tape up a little bit. So basically, I'm going to get that adhesive really nice. Now, you don't want to touch it once you do that. It will stick to you like lava. But basically, just get them, you know, warmed up. Get those chemicals kind of working. Got one right there. Okay, we do the next one. So I'm just going to actually put it down like this. Heat that up while I heat up the area next to it. I'm going to put a total of 3 strips on this. So just heat that strip up, heat the area next to it. Get all nice and toasty. Flip that over. There you go. Give it a good push. And then we'll do the last one. It's a semi-equally spaced. I did want to make sure the one on the terminal end was close to the edge. Because if anything's going to get jiggled, it's going to be that when we're working on it. Other than that, these are probably just going to sit there. All right. Good, good, good push. All right, so that puts us back there, and now we're going to be mounting this inside the printer. So to do that, let's see, do I have? Yeah, there we go. I'm going to take the tape, or the top surface of the double-sided tape off here, the plastic. Take that off if I can get it off. You have to work with it here. Put this down. Sometimes it helps to grab a razor blade or something and just barely get under the edge of it. Like that. And then kind of work it up. Sometimes it just sticks too well. Really struggling here. Oop, an edge. Add an edge. Lost the edge. Ow. I am struggling. Nothing like watch a guy try to peel tape away, huh? I don't know what's going on with this tape. Pretty sure it's not because I heated it up, because I've done that hundreds of times. Don't want to pull the tape apart. Just simply, there we go. Finally. Apologize for that taking so long. Let's try to get the next one here. Seems to be working. Is just cutting a small slot or slit into the actual tape and then trying to grab it with my fingertips. There we go. Do that one more time. That. Boom. And make sure we get that little last little piece off there. Boom. You probably won't have to struggle like that, but if you do, you're not alone. All right, so I'm gonna heat this up again, same way as I did before. I just want to warm it up. This time I'm not going to hit the plastic, I'm just going to hit the tape. Going to get each one of these heat up a little bit. This stuff actually retains the heat pretty well, so if I can get a good, 80 or 100 Celsius on these, give or take. They should stick pretty well. All right, so now I'm going to put my hand behind here like they tell me to, and I'm going to kind of angle this and corner this right into that top inside and give it a good push. Trying not to bend the actual metal of the chassis. Yep. That should work pretty well. In case you missed that one. There we go. Yep. Nice and stuck. Perfecto. All right. So we got that stuck on there, and next we have our 5-volt DC to DC converter, which is going right next to our stepper down here. And they are defining which side it goes on by the foot that has the extension on it, the loop. So I'm going to go ahead and fold up these wires a little bit, get them out of my way. at least try to. That. And this right here is our day green 50 watt DC to DC converter. So 12 to 24 volt input with a 5 volt 10 amp max output. So let's see here, and that is going with, switch back to this again. I can't flip this upside down because now that we have the print head on there, I'd be crushing it every time I did that. So kind of working this way for you. And we're going to use some M3x6s on this. So M3x6, pretty short screws. And we need our driver here. And I'm just going to slide. It's like they're talking it pretty close to that stepper. So I'm gonna get one screw started on it. Couple threads on that, and then I'll slide that all up. And then we'll get the other screw started. Go. And we'll kind of keep this square. I'm going to push this back a little bit, and actually a little bit towards the stepper. Just going to leave a little space. I'm just going to pull the whole thing back with my hands as I tighten that up, just to ensure that it's kind of squared up. It's not sitting there at some funky angle. Neatness counts. Kind of wobbly, but should be fine. All right, back up to this guy. What do we got? Yes, that's the way we did it. No, I done messed up. I got it on the wrong side. My apologies. How did I do that? Yeah, it's definitely on the wrong side. All right, just slide this up. Part of my issue, no, it's weird. This probably would not make much of an issue to have it on that side, but it looks like our wiring, our mains wiring, and probably some other wiring probably can come that way. So they were following the guides, so I'm just gonna put it where they told me to. Drop the screw. Slide this guy up a little bit. And repeat steps 5 through 6. Just joking. So hindsight being 2020, when I mounted this stepper, I probably should have faced the wiring out this way or this way, but this way, and I don't think it's gonna be that big of an issue because we're literally just going over here. And actually, that might be pretty neat anyways. So I think that'll work. All right, so we got that mounted, and now we're doing our SKR Mini and our Raspberry Pi. So let's see what we can grab there. Which? So I believe this is for the SKR. And where is my SKR? I got my Raspberry Pi right here. And I got my Pico that I bought, well, that I got. I don't recall if I printed out the mount for, so this is perfectly fitting that. I'm guessing there's no chance in hell. I didn't print off another one, so we'll have to do something in a future video, but eventually I do plan on putting this Pico in this printer. But for now, we'll just follow the LDO. And we're going to use, let's see, self-tappers. This one, though, is going to use, it's kind of weird. Why would we use self-tappers on one and M3s on the other? All right, M3x6s on this one. So our controller board is going to be using M3x6s. 4 of them. And the Raspberry Pi is going to be using M2x10 self-tappers. Grab those. 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Get that out. Been playing with the Pico Pies lately, some microcontrollers, doing some fun stuff with those. Maybe possibly do some videos on those at some point, but we'll see. All right, and this is going to set with the USB and the Ethernet ports facing towards the center portion that sticks out a little bit further. Let's actually switch over to this right here. I'm going to slide that aside. So there's our board, Raspberry Pi. Again, the nubs, or this larger nub, faces that way. Our standoffs are going upwards, and this is mounting like so. And get this on. Hopefully. I have not installed Klipper firmware or set up Klipper yet on this Raspberry Pi. I normally use fluid, but I may try mainsail on this little guy just for funsies. I have both my Voron V2.4 and my Ender 5 running on Klipper, both of them using fluid, so a little bit of a change of pace. There are a couple things I'm interested in mainsail that aren't available in fluid, so I might do that. I haven't really considered putting Octoprint back on anything, but maybe something we play around with. I don't know. I think eventually I'd like to have a board just to probably not even hooked up to a printer, but just with outputs, so we can play with software more. It's one of the biggest questions people have. One of the darkest things when it comes to 3D printing is software, because, well, one, it's not physical, and most people learn with their hands, or supposedly they do. And two, Klipper is one of those things that I think once you use it, you don't go back to Marlin or whatever else you may have been using. It just makes things so easy. Make modifications, changes. And you can run Klipper on quite a few boards. It's pretty easy to set up once you get the hang of it. So let's get this one screwed together now. Yep, so do again, these are M3x6s. And these parts, again, a little bit of force there to get that started. These are these screws are tapping into the plastic. There are no heat certs on these, so strictly a tap as you go scenario here with these. But these screws are fine threaded, and the weight of these boards are, you know, minuscule, so no issue there. Right. So this board came with heat sinks. Actually, the Raspberry Pi and the LDO kit came with a heatsink too. I believe they labeled that. Yeah, that came with a heatsink too. A lot of times they come with heat sinks. We don't tell you to put those on instructions for the Voron. At least thus far, they have not. I think we'll skip ahead a little bit, see if they do. If they don't, I'm gonna get those heat sinks on the equipment before I move forward. It's gonna be easy to put them on right now than it would be to do after the fact. So let's see here. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and put that on there right now. So let's jump back over to here. And these come with a double-sided adhesive that's thermally conductive. This actually got some weight to it. I built some gravity into that one. So this looks like straight up copper. So that's pretty decent there. That's probably one of the better Raspberry Pi heatsinks I've ever seen. So put that on that one. And then on these stepper drivers down here, which are also known to get warm, especially if you push them hard and fast. We will put these on as well. So I'm putting them on. I'm not pushing too hard. I'm just giving them a small, kind of a small twist as I put them on, just to kind of set them. After heating and cooling cycles of these chips with use, this adhesive will tend to get stuck on there a little bit better, and sometimes actually can harden up. But I don't think there's going to be an issue with this. We're not dealing with tens of watts power going through these. Really having trouble with these tapes tonight. There we go. And these fins don't really need to face in a specific direction. It's kind of nice to keep them all in the same direction, but that doesn't even really matter. I guess you could argue if you had a fan on them that you'd want them facing the direction that the air would flow around them the best, but it's not gonna make much of a difference. So if you put one on the wrong way, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. All right, let's get rid of this trash real quick. And while I'm doing that, bring that back up. And let's see what we're up to next. Electronics wiring. We are electronics placement. All right, so we're going to put the VHB tape on the back sides of these, and then we're going to get these installed on physical back side of our printer. So let's go to that. Someplace where you can see it. And pull these over here. Kind of shame. We gotta put tape over the logos. All right. Well, I'm gonna cut a couple pieces for this. Try to cut them around the length of the actual part they're going on, but this isn't a precision thing at this point. They're going to be behind the boards. You're never going to see them again unless you have to fill everything up, which hopefully you don't. I'm putting 2 pieces of this tape on here. Again, the picture looks like they're using 3/4 inch tape, whereas this looks like 1/2 inch. So, better safe than sorry. And these are even less weighty than that power supply, so I'm really just going to barely touch these things with some heat. Slap them on here. I'm not going to push too hard on that. Don't want to break the board. So that one. You can literally see the glue on the tape start to get shinier when you heat it up. And once it does get shiny, it's when you call it quits. You don't want to burn it. Do the way I did before. So basically what I did before is I took a razor blade and I just cut a small slit like this, and that was enough to give me a start. That on the second one. All I gotta do is get rid of the remnants. That's pretty easy. Put that one aside. Do the same thing with this one. Pi. So these little pieces again. Okay, and where are they going? Where are they going? They are going like that. Okay, so they are showing things in what way? Showing things like this. Okay, so all right. So let's see if this is a better view. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so they are placing the control board like so, and the Raspberry Pi in the other direction. So that's going to leave you access for the SD card slot, as well as USB if you need it, and the fuse. I'm going to heat this up real quick. Actually, before we do that, all things being equal, let's go ahead and quickly clean this back plane in the areas that we're going to be sticking things to. Plastic's usually pretty clean, but and go ahead and heat this up. And we'll try to line this up pretty straight. Mind the fact that you're going to want to be able to get to your wiring headers right here for your steppers. So you don't want those underneath your extrusions. There's that. And then our Raspberry Pi. They are facing it with the SD card facing outwards. Which I guess I understand, having the other stuff facing inwards, but interesting. Okay, so is what it is. It will be accessible to extent. Keep that up. Away. And again, this is going to go about right there. So on this Raspberry Pi, you do have a couple screws along this edge. You want to make sure you're not trying to push it down on one of those screws, because basically your tape will stick to the screw head and you won't have any surface on the actual plastic, and you will be very limited on how much stiction you get. So there's that and that. All right. Where does that put us? Let's see. Above it is just placement. If you modify placement, make sure you have access to all connections and SD card of the Raspberry Pi. Carefully press holders against panel to get good bond, which we did. Electronics wire and mains inlet wiring. Okay. Very important stuff here. So the LDO kit came or partially pre-wired on their main switch and fuse. So basically this is a lighted switch with a fuse inside of here. We'll take this apart real quick so everybody can kind of see what this is. So if you go in here, there's a little nub. You can come in and kind of pop that out like that. And in here you'll have a glass fuse. Sometimes these are hard to read. I don't know what this one says. Probably a 15 amp, or let's see, actually this is right here, 250 volt fuse. All right, I don't know how many amp it is, but I'm not gonna take time to look at it. I'm gonna assume it's the right amp fuse for this. And if you do have to change it out, you can pop it out, change it out, put it in there. On my Voron 2.4 build, if you want to see something funny, go look at the electronics on that. I decided to solder, or I should say weld, two wires together by shorting them out, and had to change that fuse. So that's that. So on the back side here, let's look at the screenshot first. What we have is, they say, show wiring in IEC color scheme. Depending on the region and your region, color scheme and wiring standards will differ. That's true. Mains wiring should only be done by qualified personnel trained in local regulations and safety standards. Failure to observe those could result in bodily harm. Also could result in fire, blowing breakers or fuses, causing you to lose power to your house. Could cause a bunch of stuff. They're telling us that we want to use American wire gauge AWG 18 or thicker, depending on your local regulations. That wire gauge should be chosen based on the amount of electricity moving through it. Whether your regulations are there or not, should be chosen accordingly. And there are plenty of charts online that you can see that, and that's based on not only the amount of electricity moving through it, but the length of the wire. Because just like any other thing, when electricity moves through something, it causes friction, which causes heat. And the more heat you have, the more chances you have of having ignition. So let's flip this around. On our connector here, the reason why it's wired the way it is our power is coming over here and our switch is over here. This right here basically is bringing in our power power for the actual switch to have electricity into the switch. So this is our ground, and I can't really tell based on this, but I believe based on the color coding of this that blue would be neutral and brown would be what you'd call your hot wire, or your mains wire, your hot mains. So ground goes over here, which would correspond with that middle lug, and then you have your two sides. Once this is powered in on the, or once you have this plugged in with a plug, all these are live. These metal pieces right here are very dangerous. You don't want to touch them. You don't want to touch anything back here. You actually don't want to touch any of this wiring while this thing is plugged in. Switching it off like that does not cut the power out to everything. That turns the power off to these two outputs. It does not do anything about the power that's actually coming in through this. So be very careful. That being said, we're going to go ahead and wire this up. So ground's going to go over to here, and again, LDO provide us with this. This could be, if you're self-sourcing, this is the simplest thing to get. If you got an old extension cord or something similar right here, this is very thin wire. It's like they say here, it's 18 gauge, 18, 16, 14 is probably overkill. 20 might do you, but all you need is a 3-conductor wire in a very short length of it. I mean, you're looking at approximately 10 inches, give or take. You know, call it 22 centimeters of wire. Yeah, 22 centimeters should be. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this plugged together. The slide connector should just snap on, and our brown's going across from our brown, and our blue is going across from our blue. I'm going to kind of push these through like this and see if I can get these to snap on. There it goes. 1, 2. There we go. I can make sure those are all tight. None of them are falling off. Make sure you don't have any wires or any hairs of the wires, little fine threads or anything like that coming out of these connectors. You could go the extra mile and put some heat shrink on these if you wanted to. You could also, if you wanted to go the extra mile, is buy some liquid electrical tape and actually put it on the back side of this. You could put a piece of electrical tape over that. It's not going to make that big of a difference if you just make sure you unplug, actually physically unplug. I'm halfway out of the camera, I apologize. Unplug this before you work on it. What it comes down to, well, when everything's said and done, if you're working on this printer and you need to work on the bottom side, need to work on any of the electronics on this printer, unless it's something that you're 100% positive, it's maybe a stepper motor wiring, or you know, a thermistor or a heater or something like that, unplug your printer before you touch any of the electronics. It could kill you, literally kill you, so be careful. All right, so that's that. So now we're going to insert this into the housing that we printed. We doing that first or after? Paired mains outlet heat set. So we're gonna do a heat cert. All right, so we'll turn that on, and it looks like we're probably better off. No, we have to mount this before we put the part in. So as soon as that iron heats up enough, we'll go ahead and get that done. So I need a heat cert, and that's going to go on. Let's see here. We have the beveled sides here, so it's going to go on the opposite. Why do they show 2 holes? They only have 1 hole. Oh, they're not showing 2 holes. They're showing the hole and the heat cert going in there. It was throwing me off. All right, so that's gonna go right there. Oh, and stick. Go. Take that off. I don't think we're gonna need it again for a while. All right, and then we're going to need M3x8. So grab a couple of them. 3 in total. That aside. Pull this guy back over. Where's this going? This is going. Let's drop the bench cam. This is going to go. Where is this going? This is going to go over here. Can't go like that. Oh, let's see here. It's facing. Okay, those are facing. A little puzzled here. All right, that is definitely going into a rail. Why would the cord be coming? What am I looking at here? All right, let me think about this. All right, they have this thing flip upright. And do I have this foot wrong? What do I have here? That's facing inwards, and it's near that. And it's like this. Okay, it's like this. All right, that's how it goes. And I'm gonna have one issue. Of course, I'm gonna have an issue. So my issue is that this printed with a groove on it to fit inside of our extrusion, and our nut holders kind of fill that void a little bit too much for us to use it. So I'm going to have to we have to wear those off a little bit, at least where those extrusions are, or where those nut holders are. Think of the best way I can do that, and when in doubt, Dremel it out. All right, so let's see what we got. I don't get to use that enough anyways. If that was allowed, I apologize. Did make a nice mess. All right. So we're gonna be going something like that. So this is going to have to get lined up over there, and this guy's gonna be over here. So we have screw holes down here we're going to use. And we're going to be able to fit our screwdriver through the top side of these. And I'm going to hold this screw while I attempt to get this screw in. Hope if I grab the right driver. Pardon my head if it's in the way. And we got that one. I don't know how close we are with this one, but let's try. Oh, it's not there. So we have to loosen this up a little bit. And what I should do is slide this that way. Yep. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one up. Not all the way, but pretty firm. I'm gonna slide this one over until it hits that screw. Alleviate that screw a little bit. Slide it. Here, slide it. Pull that screw out a little bit. that. It's fighting me. All right, there we go. Pretty close. Then I'm gonna have to just slide that forward while I'm tightening that up. So it grabs, there we go. Pretty decent. And then our side piece here. Let's see what I can do here. This little guy down. Weird. All right, so that there. Camera's drunk. All right, right there. Like so. And go back and retighten these up to full. Retighten this one up to full. And that puts us here. Let's step to this. We're going to slap this in. Run the wires through first. Pull that through and clicky clicky. Nice. All right, where does that put us? I think that puts us in a good place to pause for a little bit and jump into another video. So I'm gonna say thanks for joining me. Appreciate you watching. Go ahead and hit subscribe or like, preferably both. And got a lot more videos out there. A lot of Voron videos on the V01 from start to finish, or start to now. And also I have all my build series of the Voron 2.4. So if you are interested in building 3D printers, or if you're interested in information about building 3D printers, please do watch some of those videos. Go ahead and ask me any questions you want in the comments. Visit my YouTube channel to find information on how to contact me via email. I answer nearly every message I get, and I will see you next time.